Ashes of Creation is an upcoming MMORPG that looks amazing. A lot of you guys have asked me to cover this game, and if you kept up with my recent videos, we did discuss it a little bit. And since that video, I've got in contact with the devs and we decided to do a Q&A. So that's what this video will be about. It will be an exclusive Ashes of Creation video. I took different questions from my community and various forms of social media, and my community manager handpicked the best questions. I added a few myself, and so we sent them off to Steven, the creative director of the studio behind Ashes of Creation. So hopefully this answers some of the questions you guys have about this game yourself. And maybe this will help you determine if Ashes of Creation is the next big game for you, if it's something you should be interested in. This Q&A was done over text, so I'm going to read the questions and read the answers. And what you guys are seeing in the background is actual in-game footage from Ashes of Creation. Let's get to it. As you may have seen in the last successful MMORPGs, the crafting system has been a huge portion of game income. Some people get ahead in crafting ASAP to get as much income as they can. However, some people may not be that hardcore and take months to understand how this system works. Hearing this, is there a crafting system in Ashes, and how does it work, and how will it affect in-game income? There is a very in-depth and crucial crafting system in the game. Personally, I have always felt that crafting should be a serious commitment, and because of that, it should be seriously rewarding. Our crafting system is built into a class progression, which players can choose to level concurrently with their primary adventuring class. As you progress in this artisan class, you will have 3 distinct trees that you can progress in: gathering, processing, and crafting. An artisan will choose which path he will progress in, or he can spread out his progress to be efficient in all 3 trees of artisanship. True masters will be dedicated to one of the 3 artisan paths. Because of the amount of time and effort required to become a skilled artisan in Ashes of Creation, these players will undoubtedly exert a strong influence over the in-game economy. As a developer, you may have gone through struggles developing the game and probably solved most of them. The MMORPG's community grow every year, and the problems grow with it. We have seen developers and producers get a massive harsh criticism for not doing what the community expected. What are your plans on community management? And Steven replied, part of what makes me love MMORPGs is the community. I've always felt that developers start with the best intentions, then end up missing the mark completely because of corporate influence, and bottom lines that end up turning into cash grabs. It breaks my heart to see the genre I love reach such a hopeless period. This is why I decided to make Ashes of Creation. I believe that if we build it, they will come. If we do it right and listen to the community, get engaged, be transparent, Ashes of Creation will rock the industry back to what made it great. With the enhancement in technology resources, our frontiers are getting smaller as we speak. It's easier now to engage in political, gaming, social discussion with foreigners on the other side of Earth. Is there any plans on expanding the servers across the sea? Steven responds, this is a really great question and makes an excellent point. We're far from making any sort of final decision about this, but as you state, technology has come a long way from even 10 years ago, and that makes these decisions a lot easier. In broad strokes, our preliminary investigations reveal that we can run and manage overseas servers cost efficiently, which is good because those expenses used to be a real hurdle to get over, especially for a smaller studio like ours. As long as we get a critical mass of interest in a region, we'll be looking to open up servers in that region. Our ability to do this will depend heavily on local laws and regulations. Some places are much easier than others to expand into, so we're looking toward partnerships that will help us navigate those particular waters. In short, yes, we almost certainly will have international servers available, but we don't know yet where and when. As we know more, we'll share more with the community. Trading is a good opportunity for a community-based resource for materials and money, and I've noticed Ashes brings a new trading system that sounds amazing. But is it? Can you explain or tease us, what is the trading in Ashes? What do you mean by our regional market system allows players to participate in creating pocket economies that will reinforce the stability of goods in particular regions? And the response was, our trading system is the first of its kind in any MMORPG. The movement of resources from region to region is where risk meets reward, and we want players to experience that feeling of suspense. To give you an idea of how this works, resources in our world spawn in certain regions. As an example, let's say iron may only spawn in a tier 1 region, and that iron ore can only be processed in a tier 2 region. Players have a very limited carrying capacity for resources, and will rely on a caravan system to transport goods from region to region. Caravans are spawned in villages, and can be sent to other village stage nodes or above. While the caravan moves, it will have players who are registered as defenders and NPC guards assigned by the village. A zone around the caravan will prompt players nearby with a window that asks if they wish to defend, attack, or ignore the caravan. If the caravan reaches its destination, the defenders will reap a reward, and the owner will have transported his goods for processing and sale. Multiple players can deposit goods into a single caravan. However, if the bandits succeed at destroying this caravan, then a wreckage will appear, only lootable by players who registered to attack. This system will create pocket economies in certain regions that depend on the activity of bandits or guilds to defend the trade routes between player-governed cities. And we are excited to see how players will interact over these contested regional trade routes. Next question. Ashes brings some of the best PvP types out there: open world, sieges, points of interest, but because of this type of PvP, griefing can become a thing. Sometimes people may not find it fun when they're getting camped by a few other players. As normal as it is, complaints will come. Is there a legal system to control the outlaws a little? The answer is, our flagging system highly deters griefing and outright PKing. There are 3 states that a player can find themselves in: non-combatant, which displays as green; combatant, which shows as purple; and corrupt, which shows as red. Everyone is a non-combatant by default. If a non-combatant attacks a combatant or another non-combatant, then they become a combatant for a period of time. Similarly, if a non-combatant enters a PvP zone, which includes things like castles, city sieges, and caravans, they are automatically flagged as a combatant while in that zone, and for a period of time after leaving that zone. Players can kill combatants without repercussions, and are encouraged to do so, since dying while a combatant means you suffer reduced death penalties. Where this changes is when a combatant kills a non-combatant. In this case, the combatant is corrupt and acquires a corruption score. This score is determined by different things such as the level of the victim slain. This corruption score can be worked off with effort through a few mechanics, but the primary means of getting rid of it is through death. While a player is corrupt, they may be attacked by both combatants and non-combatants. We also have some other ideas that we haven't formalized yet that will allow players to participate in what we feel could be a fun cat and mouse part of the game. As an example, the location of these corrupt players will be displayed on the map. If you have the Bounty Hunter title, which can be obtained through a quest available to a citizen from a military zone, which is a stage 4 town node. These are systems that we're still working on, but corruption is something we want to provide explicit gameplay opportunities for. Our players can participate in PvP with one another without having to resort to murder. It will be nearly impossible to camp a player in Ashes of Creation. Our corruption system for PKers ensures that their combat effectiveness diminishes with each murder they commit. Eventually, a corrupt player will be ineffective in PvP, and will have potential to drop their gear if killed while corrupt. This game brings a non-scene system for world's development. The cities might be destroyed by their citizens, and a new city has to be built from the ground to the skies. How does it work? And the answer is, we have recently written a developer's blog in regard to our node system, which can be found here, with a link to the Ashes of Creation's website. I'll post it in the description for you guys to click on if you would like to read it. And the answer continues, the most important aspect of our node system is to understand that the world is your creation. You as players determine what story will be told. Through the creation of destruction of the world around you, it affects every aspect of gameplay. Will quest be the only viable way to level up? Will there be other ways to gain experience like crafting or gathering? Steven says, this is a much bigger question than it at first seems, because it kind of touches a lot of systems which we're not quite ready to reveal yet. What we can say is that while questing may be a primary means of getting experience, it will by no means be the only way of progressing. Exploration, crafting, events, and of course killing monsters will all contribute to your character's growth. We want to reward people for playing and participating in a sort of big picture way. You'll probably see your character gain experience from weird things you haven't seen in the past. In the FAQ of the game, it says that it is a high fantasy open world. But is it really open world? Are there no invisible walls at all? Can I scale up mountains and such? Will there be any loading screens? Steven responds, when we say open world, we pretty much mean that. We're aiming to make as much of the world traversable as possible, because exploration is something we want to incentivize and reward. There may be certain other situations where you'd see loading screens, like cutscenes perhaps, but they'll be few and far between. As far as invisible walls, there will have to be places that you won't be able to go, particularly along the edges of the world. But we'd prevent you with environmental hazards rather than invisible walls, like deep ocean that has nothing beyond it. What will the game setting be? A medieval-ish Western type of setting or a more Eastern approach? Can you describe the world to us? We are aiming for a more medieval approach, but with a very Lord of the Rings look. A lot of mysterious and mythological environments. The world is ruined and has been undiscovered for thousands of years. So many ancient artifacts and abandoned cities of old. Will AOC be more PvP focused or PvE focused? Maybe a perfect balance of both. We want the mega raids for bosses and dungeons that stop your heart with wonder and awe. We want to see players cooperating to defeat a town or castle from an opposing group of players, but at the same time, watch that same community work together to rebuild out of the ashes a new city. PvE is how the world is built. PvP is the catalyst for change. They are yin and yang. Will world bosses be a thing? Yes, absolutely. Epic. Did I say yes? What inspired AOC? How did you guys come up with such a unique game with such immersive features? Honestly, I have always wanted to build an MMORPG. I got tired of sitting around talking with my guild about why X company did that a certain way. Why did X company ruin this game? I just figured that if something has to be done right, I needed to do it myself. So I'm using my experience as a player of MMORPGs for 25 years, coupled with industry veterans from some of the best done MMOs that I know of, to build the MMORPG that will make MMORPGs great again. So that concludes our Ashes of Creation Q&A. A special thank you to Steven for answering these questions and giving me such juicy and detailed responses. And thank you to my community for sending in your questions. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what you think about Ashes of Creation in the comments section. Are there any other questions that you guys still have for the game? And do you guys think that AOC could be the next big MMO for you? Let me know in the comments section and I will catch you guys in the next one. See you soon, friends.